The Everglades gets its name from the Native American word Pahoki or Peheoki, which means grassy waters. And Marjorie Stoneman Douglas translated that into the river of grass. And I've always called the Everglades, you know, heaven's mirror. And this is a perfect example of why. And I just learned last year that there's another word that the local natives, the Meckasuki tribe, specifically calls the Everglades, and that's Kihayotlet, which means where the light reflects from the water. So in spirit, my entire life, I've called it the same as the native people who live here.
How good is that?
Isn't that just
That's
wild?
So cool. When most of us think of overlanding, it's the journey that is king. Much of what we do is not about the destination, but what happens along the route. That said, an epic destination can push a person to new heights, both mentally and physically. Today, our adventure over at Go On Overland has taken us south. And when you're in the south, well, you go airboating.
Rock and roll.
And just like that, we found ourselves fulfilling a lifetime dream of airboating the Everglades. Sitting there looking off the waters, lurking with gators and the rumbling of the engines firing up, the next thing you know, we were ripping through the sawgrass. Well, as for Marshall, it's just another day on the water. This trip is just one of thousands of trips he's taken out here into the Glades, fulfilling his calling and continuing the family tradition of glazing.
Okay, so we're here at the glory hole, and you can see clearly that there's a nice current, a flow through here, which indicates living waters. And the Everglades is called the River of Grass specifically because the water is designed to flow through the Everglades. The Everglades is a vast river, the slowest moving river on the planet, in fact. And it's this current through all the vegetation that is critical to the health of the Everglades and to the health of our saltwater tidal estuaries. The water's even connected to the mighty Mississippi, which creates the Gulf Stream, and then the Everglades, which happen to be the kidneys of Florida, then filter this water before it's introduced to tide and influences the speed and cleanliness, nutrient capacity of the Gulf Stream. Nutrient density is the proper term, I'm sorry. You can see the big trees up on the horizon. That's Spencer's Island. That'll be our next stop. And hopefully old Tommy will be there. There's Tommy. Come here, boy. He's like, shoot, woke me up. So this here's Tommy. He's a 12-foot American alligator. Judging by the diameter of his teeth and the size of the scoots, which are the bumps on his back, we can pretty securely say this guy's over 40 years old. He's chilly, but the water's colder. And he just wants to lay there and stay warm as long as he can, conserve energy, and at some point in time tonight, he'll get off this land and go out hunting. And he'll come back up here and do it all over again tomorrow. Twice I've seen very well decorated burials, Native American burials that were probably Seminole, possibly Miccosukee. One time I found, we found a burial that was likely Calusa. We were towards the western edge of the Everglades, and there was a very large mound, a midden as they're called, and it was very ornately decorated with lots of handmade items, which signifies somebody of stature that was buried there. It depends on how far, how long we're here on the island, and what the western horizon looks like when we pull out into that big open slough when we get out of here. The big open areas are called sloughs, and the sawgrass are called ridges. The areas of sawgrass. You'll see as we get further out from here, like the trail we came from the Glory Hole to here on, that's a really old, like ancient Native American canoe trail. Most of the airboat trails, the well-worn airboat trails through the Everglades, are very old Native American canoe trails where they used to push pole through the Everglades on hand-hewn wooden canoes from cypress trees, Pecky cypress specifically. You guys, please watch your step. Come on up. Big old female. Sorry, if you gently go into their jaw, And just slowly touch them. You can lift them right up.
No way.
Yep. From the tip of the snout to the eyes, every inch equals 1 foot in total length, so that's an 8-foot gator.
Wow.
Look at that. Just like a little dog, you can train them to sit there and posture up. Cool stuff, huh?
So good, man.
That is so cool.
Well friends, here it is the next day and we're still thinking about everything that happened yesterday. Lucky for us, we got a ton of footage and a bunch of it we're not even showing with you guys. You know, some of this stuff you're just gonna have to get out there and see for yourself. Guys, there's so many stories that we covered, much more than we thought we'd ever get out of this trip. You know, if you get down to South Florida, make sure whether you're 100 miles out, 300 miles out, to get down to Macks Fish Camp and check them out. You know, Marshall's gonna give you the eco tour. It's a private tour, so you're out on the boat. Whether you got a small group of friends or some family, just make sure and get yourself out there. You know, guys, we learned so much about all the birds and the fish and all the plants and vegetation, and then of course the natives and all the many people who used the Everglades over the years, thousands of years ago up until now. Of course, we know the Gladesmen used that territory. Now guys, there's a little bit of piece of it left for you to go experience, so we really hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, we're gonna drop a link in the description. You're gonna get connected with Macks and you'll get to know all the information about them, how to get in contact with them to book your next trip. But friends, make sure you subscribe if you've came along this far. We'd love to have you. Hit the bell, you'll get notified anytime we put a new video out. You know, over here at Go on Overland, we're filming all kinds of stuff as we get out and travel. Just like I talked about in the beginning, some of these destinations are worth it. You know, we talk a lot about the journey and lots of different gear. Sometimes we break gear along the journey and we have to do side of the road repairs, side of the trail fixes and stuff like that, all sometimes for the cause of getting to a great destination. We're not gonna forget the journey along the way, but places like this just make it worth it. So friends, if you drop us a comment, we'd love to know what you thought of the video. We'd love to hear more questions. We'd love to answer about our travels and how we get out there and go on. But friends, until the next one, God bless you, get up and go on.